Okay, so sorry. Welcome everyone to our Wednesday Mentoring Stewards call. It's December 30th, and we're all here, and Henry's going to open with a beautiful resonance. Thank you.
So welcome everyone. Opening to this field this morning, and the resonance in our hearts, in each of our hearts, as we breathe in and out, the exchange between within us and with all of life. As we open to deepening into our individual and collective missions, bringing them into greater resonance and coherence. And the love, the unique expressions of love that we each are. And also linking to the yearning to go deeper into our expressions, to the expression of our gifts and our potential that is so needed at this time on our planet. Opening to, as well, to delightment as we join in our sharing this morning. Coming back, opening our eyes with our hearts connected and remaining open in resonance. Oh.
Oh, thank you, Henry. Thank you everyone for showing up on this call, and just a deep honoring and high level of respect and wisdom and responsibility, expanding our capacities to really serve the good of the whole is why we come here, to support each other. So Henry, I think you need to put your little nose on, and then I'm gonna try to share this little video. It's only 30 seconds, and but it really is an expression of the field, and hopefully you can hear it. But let's try to do this. Hold on one sec. Whoa, no. What was that? Oh, there we go. Ellen, maybe Ellen's joining us here this morning. So less about what's being said at the top about the happiest people. Just watch the little boy in the center and watch what he's doing. Oh, we can't. Oh, sorry. Hold on one second. Oops. All right. Escape that. Oh. Uh-oh. Ah.
So I'm assuming you're Thomas, and you are Valencia
Okay.
and Tamika.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. All right. Sorry about that. So I hope you just got a little tickle from that. That for me, that's that's the expression of good of the whole. And that's what we're doing here, is just being called forth to really bring forth our unique expressions as we co-mentor each other, as we step into the co-mentoring of each other in this field. There you go, Julie. See, Julie's got it.
I think we should all dance and you call us into the center.
All right. Don't worry. I've learned that's what a construction manager actually does. I'm owning that. All right. Anyway, so thanks everybody for showing up. And so here we are this morning, here for an hour to really cultivate this ethos of wholeness, where every individual feels valued, connected, and whole. And we're creating and stepping into this resonant field, which is love, which is the safest container. And we know this by the high level of transparency and wisdom that's getting brought forth. And as we cultivate this ethos of wholeness, we're nurturing our innate capacity to live for the good of the whole. And this is really why we come and why we step in as mentoring stewards. So I believe most of you were on last week's call, and hopefully you were, if you weren't, you were able to watch the video, because there is a shift happening within this community. And the shift is, especially on this call, it's coming in to, as Julie and I have been speaking, this morning, just to be conscious transition specialists, that we're empowering leaders in communities to live for the good of the whole during this time and advance this whole world view. So specifically on this call, just kind of pulling the threads forward, is that we have an advisory council that is getting together every Monday, and which are coming together to support the development and the form and structure of good of the whole. And we're feeding that into this call. And we're inviting each one of you to step in. And the call, again, just for those people who might not have heard, that we're going to break it up into 20-minute segments, where that first segment is really coming together, being in the field, feeling that sense of resonance and building the coherence. And then each one of you will have a chance to bring in your fullest expression of good of the whole. What is it that you're feeling? It might be a project, it might be an idea, it might be just something that you're loving. And, and that expression is, here you are, in earth at this time, and what is it that is coming through you in service of the good of the whole? And the rest of us are listening, and that third part of the call will be that integration time. And so last week we began fostering some of those ideas, and we opened the field, but it was for a very short time. So this call will give more opportunity for you as individuals to share how that feels for you, what's moving through you, and keeping it to 2 or 3 minutes so that people can have a chance to allow this field to bubble up and express itself. So with that, and also just how beautiful Glenn is here with us. And Glenn, I'll share a little bit about Glenn's expression, and then he'll be able to come in and share how, as an example, as a model for how one might bring forth what's bubbling up in them in service of the good of the whole. Yeah. All right. So let's just take a breath with that. Julie, do you want to add in anything at this point before we open the call? Okay, great. All right. And Heinz, also, I had an opportunity to get together with Heinz last week and listen to a call that Oriana and Nahid, I think that's it from this call, were on. And just his expression of being a bridge builder and bringing these intimate groups of 8 together, and how that's manifesting, and us listening for how that might intermingle and weave with good of the whole. So, these are some of the things that where we're fostering really what we're doing is we're fostering our imagination. We're fostering our imaginal cells and amplifying that frequency. I think one more thing that's coming to me to mention as another example is for those of you that were on the Monday resonance call, and you might have heard Kelsey, who's this beautiful 30-year-old, beautiful, gorgeous woman, express her passion in working with children and being able to articulate the essence of the resonant field and love to children in a way that just completely blew me away. And I was able to have an hour-and-a-half call with her, and she's not really able to get on this call, but again, another expression that's coming forward. So as you can see, something's really bubbling here. Looking at Linda Pachamama Pajamas, there's lots happening here. So with that, I think this would be just a good opportunity to just allow Glenn to bring in his piece, and then we'll just open it up to everyone. So Glenn is on our advisory council with Linda and Marianne and Julie and myself, and John's going to be joining us. So a welcome letter is going out after this call. So thank you, John. And Glenn's expression is the Ohana Legacy Foundation, which he brought to us to the advisory council, and really creating perpetual communities for the good of the whole. And so even though I have some notes, because I didn't think he was going to get on this call, I feel like, Glenn, if you would just take,
Go right ahead from what you've got in your notes. In the blank. Okay.
What? No, you should know. Really? You want me to? Really?
Absolutely.
Okay, then, but then please jump in with everybody else. All right. So here pops this idea. Glenn has, and Marion are in Aloha Land in Hawaii. They've created actually also a community center where people can come and rent space and do their business, and really for the good of the whole. And he brings this Ohana Legacy Foundation, which is basically affordable housing, meeting the global problem of affordable housing. And what he was sharing with us was that our home and community should be a place of love, a place to recharge our spirit and rebuild our energies so we can do what is ours to do in the world, to build a model of affordable homes and neighborhoods in which every person, from the youngest to our kupuna, may live in love and have the community to support and thrive. And that the Ohana Legacy Foundation has a growing team contributing their special skills, talents, and heart and resources, basically to using and understanding how to create a regenerative experience within a neighborhood. And then simply essential to every decision is the thought, is this decision for the good of the whole? So Glenn came to us and was looking at, well, why create another nonprofit organization? Is there a way that we can do this through good of the whole? So with that, Glenn, I'm just going to pass it over to you to open, and then allow everyone to just sort of share what's popping for them in terms of, this moving structure of the 20-minute segments, and how you see, it can be specific, or it can be something like Henry mentioned about, his love of creating a newsletter. So each one of you has something that's popping in terms of this shifting structure. So I'll pass it over to Glenn and pass this beautiful little rose quartz heart over to you. And
Good morning, everybody, and aloha. So out here in Kauai, I've been inspired to take a look at our living situation, the whole way that we live out here. Actually, the way we live in a lot of places across the world. We drive into a neighborhood, we look around, we see a house we like, or a condo complex, and we see a condo, a piece of property we like, and we decide to move in without knowing anything about our neighbors, without knowing any standards of behavior, agreements. It's like, okay, I wonder who I'm getting in bed with here. Who lives next door? What's going on? So what I'm looking at is taking some of the co-housing conversations and looking at creating two elements here: a social agreements kind of standard that strikes a resonant field, and then combining it with lower cost construction strategies such as 3D home printing. We're 3D home printing now with mud. We're using all sorts of new technologies to build, I'll call it shelter, in terms of livingery that can dramatically lower the cost of housing. And also, I guess there's a third, maybe there's four elements here. A third element is the notion that housing can be owned by a nonprofit foundation in perpetuity, so that it in fact becomes rental property for multiple generations, hundreds of years. So that embedded in the rent is the fourth element, which is an economic regenerative component, such that on a 20-year cycle, the amount of rent that people pay totally recovers the cost of construction and building and operations of the foundation, such that the foundation can then build another community someplace else in the world. So there's about four elements there that that are revealing themselves as we go forward. And on Kauai, we need 1,000 homes here in the next 5 years, and many say we need 10,000 homes over the next 20 years. That's about almost 10 homes a week, and we have no technology here to create those homes for people, let alone maybe tiny homes that can support the homeless and that sort of thing. So the new 3D printing technology that's emerging allows us to build, we can build a tiny home in now under 6 hours for less than $4,000, 600 to 800 square feet. We can build a 2,000 square foot home now for in less than 24 hours for under $10,000. So there's a whole new paradigm happening in that world. And then the idea of operating it in perpetuity as a part of the nonprofit foundation just changes the whole economics of basically taking the profit margins out. And also, another piece of this is building commercial property as well. So a woman who's just joined our group here yesterday, in fact, is a nurse who has a home care certification. So the idea of building home care facilities for our kapuna, our elderly, and even taking that now on into assisted living facilities and home or senior daycare facilities. We can build all that infrastructure as a perpetual nonprofit, in perpetuity, and not have to have the entrepreneur be worried about the landlord raising the rents every year or when their lease is up and forcing them to move. However, rents may adjust based upon cost of living index and choices that the community might make together. So that's the game I'm into now, and looking at how to bring that into good of the whole, make all decisions from that space of good of the whole, set the values for the community, and bring that into form is what's emerging here. So I have a gathering on Kauai every Tuesday morning at our co-working space, and a growing team that's playing in this world. So that's in a nutshell what's happening. Although I know Julie's read that report, and Shelley now, and maybe Linda. I don't know. Do you guys got anything you'd like to add?
Thank you, Glenn. I will just add the brilliance. Congratulations on the brilliance of taking a problem and looking at how do we solve that for the good of the whole? How do we transition our paradigm, our mindset, our worldview of housing, and then shift it into the new worldview, a worldview of wholeness, a whole worldview, and with the consciousness of good of the whole. And so he's taken this housing problem, and the functioning of the perpetuity is what is the brilliant part of it, is that it goes back to how good of the whole has been formed, is that no one owns it and everyone owns it. You know, so all those living spaces that will be created and all those safe homes that people will have, beautiful shelter is literally held in a space with what's good of the whole. So I love that. And I also just want to say that model it can be taken on even a larger scale, and it can be scaled down very small in community organizations of saying, we don't all need a lawnmower, we don't all need a drill, we don't all need a washing machine, we don't, you know, so we could take that model in, I'm not saying we as in us and at this time, I'm saying humanity can use this model and bring it down into a very small scale of a neighborhood association, and it can go very large of working in governments and elsewhere. So I just appreciate the brilliance and the dedication. And I also just want to say one more thing before I close, is that Glenn's mind of shifting, how do I live for the good of the whole? How am I living for the good of the whole? Also created a whole nother company where he brought ethos into a brand of Regenerous products when Glenn and Marion were there. So thank you, Glenn. That's another example of when we truly do embody this ethos of wholeness and live for the good of the whole, we're also nurturing others' capacity to live for the good of the whole. And that's what we're all about. So thank you and congratulations. And I can't wait to see where it goes. It's going to be a fun project. And I know you're on fire because I watch you.
Well, we're having a lot of fun. It's like,
yeah. Here's a video. Oh my gosh. Okay. And I'm going to talk to that person. I'm going to talk to this. So good job. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. And I guess I want to give a lot of credit to this, the community that have all been part of creating, because having this community brings the consciousness of good of the whole to the forefront of my thinking on a daily basis. So it's become the way I think, and it's right there top of mind all the time. So there you go. So bring it on, guys. Let's party. You know, I'm 70. Let's go bold, and go bold or go home.
Thank you, Glenn.
Oh, I'm complete, I think.
Oh.
and I do have a long kind of a paper that's emerging about all this, and I'm happy to share it with someone. If you guys want to text me or email me or whatever, Glenn@glennhead.com, and I'm happy to share that.
Yeah, and this is really a part of the self-organization and being okay with the development, that we're in development. We're listening. Of course, the first thing still is the administrative director and the fundraising that has to happen here. But to know that, just as Glenn was saying, getting this experience and consciousness of good of the whole to be in the forefront of our thinking every single day, And so here we're fostering that. So let's open it up. So I just want to say one thing. So obviously all of us are really feeling called to live for the good of the whole. So today's expressions from you can be anything from, what's moving you as you're hearing this, as you're feeling this. We would ask that this isn't the exact time to get into your particular thing for a 10-minute conversation, but that if you're feeling this excitement again, I think I only heard from one person. If you really want to be one of those people to have a full 20 minutes to really get your expression out, like Glenn would have 20 minutes to go in more deeply with us. And then those people that felt that they wanted to self-organize or be part of that, they would, come together. So just keeping that in mind, if you can just keep your share to, 2 to 3 minutes so that everyone can really feel that their voice is heard here. Thank you. And I'm complete and whole. Just pop in as you feel.
I want to start. When I hear restructuring, I get very excited. So that is why I come here, because that's the chance for quantum leap. And then I hope that happens here. And as a bridge builder, I'm in that youngest baby that Barbara birthed. And there's unique elements that we bring out, as you and hummingbirds and all those friends of Barbara brought out. And my intention is to marry all those, to synergize with all those, that we come to an even higher level than good of the whole and our group, the 52 Codes group, and so on. And also I just was at a meeting with Jean and John in Loveland and in Ontario, Canada. And I met Juan Carlos. And the system that he presented is exactly what I see. I'm not so interested in the interstellar stuff. That's not my thing. But how we transition into the new world, in the new paradigm, they have quite distinct worked out. Juan Carlos is a genius in that. And I want to go with that also, because it's so close, or almost the same how I see things. So this is what I want to bring in here for the sake of a higher level of all of us. We call them probably friends of Barbara. I call them lovers of Barbara, but that could be a misunderstanding with Mark Gaffney, so I say friends of Barbara. So yeah, that is why I come here, and I like to talk with you, Shelley, about more details and the bridge builder. And I start not to see you as you, I start to see you also as me, the good of the whole, as a distinct group. I mean, so yes, that's what I want to say, and I'm complete here.
I suppose I'll go next. Thanks, Heinz. Glenn, that's awesome. I woke up in the middle of the night about 3 nights ago, and I go, since I've been part of this organism, our task, our privilege has been to luxuriate in the resonant field together. And it's such a warm, inclusive experience. But the word that came to me as I woke up was tangible. It's time to make that field tangible, and presenting that to individuals, groups, other organizations, organisms. And Glenn, I think your model is right on target, and that is creating the resonant field within, in your case, I've been a builder too, so I kind of really understand that, a community that thrives for the gifts that each individual within the organism brings. And and that's what we're doing. And so each one of us bringing our tangible piece into resonance from the resonance field, being informed, and then offering that back out for the good of the whole. And as we do that together, I think that's what's going to make good of the whole our place on the map somewhere, and others can join in and bring their gifts as well. And I feel like the funding piece will come together. But again, it's like people ask me, okay, I think I had I did a wonderful thing for my wife that passed on Saturday, and I promoted good of the whole, and people asked the same question that everybody asked, that all of us asked. Well, what is good of the whole? And it's like the more tangible we get it, the more communities that we build on every level, as we bring our specific gifts and talents into that. And as Shelley said, Julie said, we all own it and none of us own it. There's no ownership. It's the residence itself. So personally, I'd love to do 20 minutes and I have a piece I'd like to do at some point. So I'll get on the list. And then that's what I have today. Thanks. Complete.
I can follow John, especially the word tangible. So for me, what's bubbling up in me and what started back in 2015, September of 2015, I was in the evolutionary family reunion that Barbara Marks Hubbard and her sister Patricia gathered together with Steve Dinan up in northern San Francisco. So 40 people from all over the world came and was, what do you have? What do you have to give? What's yours to give to the world? And so what got birthed from that is called the Loving Journey. It's a 12-week, actually 6 months, but 2 12-week segments of making this personal heart transformation. And so it makes this resonant field more tangible on a personal heart level. So this is more for one-to-one people taking it personally and really feeling that resonance as their heart opens, shut down, close heart and fear. So that is my gift that came out of that 2015 week reunion. And I think it's now to come out more into the world now. It needs to return back to the whole, bringing it back. So this feels good.
I'm just wanting to say, who's ever on 949, I'm not sure who that is, but if you could make sure that you're on mute. Sorry, I put you on mute at one point, so just letting you know that you're unmuted. Yeah, also just one more thing, which is, if you don't have to already be having a project here. I want to just make that really clear, that this is about listening and listening to the field and really trusting your inclination, that impulse through you. And it might be simply like, wow, I want to volunteer once a week. And it's like, it's nothing huge and large, but as Julie was saying earlier, it might be just something really simple. And that is as valid as anything else here. And we want to just keep that, remembering that it could be a simple, call up and say, hey, I'd like to do something. And I don't even know what that is. And we have a chance to share, and all of a sudden something pops, So allowing the field just to lovingly move through us and as us, and really trusting that and honoring and respecting every little movement in that. So I'm complete, and feel free to open.
So I will, excuse me, I'll step in here. I guess similar to John and most likely others, for me, I'm really interested in exploring and finding all the different areas of applications of heart resonance, whether it be, in one-to-one relationships, in business, in conflict resolution, in working with children, to explore all the places and getting kind of simple formulas that can be shared and extended and duplicated. So I'm not sure exactly what that will look like, but I think that's really important, and it was expressed by Don Pett on the resonance call on Monday, that, you know, that's kind of the important thing, is creating circles. And I think it was mentioned also today, creating circles and creating circles of circles to deepen those connection, and having ways that people can access, and for us to grow in being able to facilitate and teach that. So so I was seeing, at least as potential, you know, something like, you know, people who are working with bringing in heart resonance with children, for them, you know, at least potentially to come together and to share and to investigate and do their own research, and to come up with that. Or an idea came in that was from Barbara expressed, of the new indigenous people. I somewhat even like that term better than the new human or the new species, because the new indigenous part is connected so deeply and intimately with the earth and with the cosmos and with everything else. And when I think of the new human, it doesn't interconnect as much, or the new species, it's somewhere more heady. So anyway, you know, I could also see a group or people coming together to delineate what are the qualities, what is the nature of the new indigenous human that we are becoming, because she expressed that we are the new indigenous. So of being able to articulate that. So I mean, there are other things that are coming to mind, but those are a few that are kind of in the top of my agenda. I mean, also, one last thing is, you know, I heard it expressed of learning that we're coming to a place of less language, less need for words to communicate, but communication is important. So also, people exploring how to communicate telepathically, or with fewer words, or being able to transmit some of the understanding. So we're also using words, but we're able to transmit the energy of what is emerging as well. So those are a few things, and I'm complete for now.
It's hard to leave spaciousness when you get excited. I just want to just hold this again and allow the continuation of this beautiful weaving that's coming forward. So thank you. I just want to say that the organization's purpose is to support and uplift individuals and organizations and initiatives that are living for the good of the whole. And right here, as I'm watching this tapestry, is that this is the resource repository. This is the evolutionary toolbox. Like, you are co-creating through your individual expressions in this moment, this evolutionary toolbox that future leaders can tap into and feel that support and feel uplifted and hold that. So this is an example of a living resource repository, a living evolutionary toolbox coming through us as that expression, because you are the individuals that we are supporting and uplifting that are living for the good of the whole. And we will continue to reach out. So I just wanted to just presence that, because this is so beautiful. So thank you. And I'm complete. And keep it coming. This is beautiful.
Hello, everyone. So, by the way, I'm listening. I'm just doodling a little. I can hear everything really well. So Julie was speaking, and I guess the word popping. So I was trying to see what would happen with the word popping. So I've been here for a long time. I'm always thinking how Vistar can partner, and of course, our missions are very aligned because, of course, because everything that we are is for the good of the whole. And so actually, I don't know exactly, but in terms of popping, I just thought of something when Julie was speaking and Shelley saying all these things of what we could add. So, everyone knows that we're on the end now of this book that we've been trying to launch, with Evolutionary Meetings, the Vistar Method, working title. So one thing is, I know there's going to be 20-minute parts where people here can present. Sounds great. Gwen's things sound great. Everything sounds good. Oh, it really. So this is just off the top of my head, okay? So I was thinking that in terms of the Vistar method that Shelley trained in, and she knows that people can actually use that method to present their teaching or their offering or their perspective or their consciousness or their inner work or their anything. It can be used as a person using it as their teaching tool because the content is content free. Any content can be used. So one idea here is if people hear or when we get ready to launch it, perhaps there's something we can do where people could learn that method and actually bring forth their offering, like, I don't know, I'm just thinking of like Henry, when he was saying, he'd like to have the explore some separation, and as he gets it in the public into that and say, I'm just talking ideas, I can say he did that and said, say I've researched this is what I've come to, here's my template, I'd like everybody to add to that. And as Shelley knows, the method's a little bit, people can add to that in a very, very structured way. This obviously, we've had incredible success with. So it's like one idea. I'm really feeling the urge for the Spirit Club. It's not going away, Julie. It's not going away. It's just, this book is taking front center, and also I'm working with Unity Earth, as partner liaison, so that's taking a lot of time. But later on, there will be Spirit Club, and that's going to be wide open. I'd love to bring that through, the good of the whole. So these are just ideas here, and that's all popping. Thank you.
Anyone else going to pop right in? Popping in? Mary Poppins? Since no one's jumping in, Julie, you're doing something. That does not mean, like, I don't have anything down there. What is that?
Linda.
Oh, Linda.
Hi, I'm using my phone because my computer speakers aren't working right. So I can see you, but I have to hear you this way. Sorry for the confusion. So yeah, we're popping and making things tangible and talking about creating more circles. And I am doing that. The circles in my community are happening tonight. There's another community Reiki healing sanctuary, and we do centering meditations before we start working with the public. And I find that good of the whole keeps coming more and more forward, so that what we're doing is always on our hearts and our consciousness, that we are doing this for the good of the whole community. And so that's one tangible thing that is happening. The other is still popping in my head and not yet landed on earth. For Pachamama Pajamas, I just again ask everyone to keep holding that, in the pot, because the kernels are popping, but they haven't fully popped yet. And one of the things that came to me is, and when Glenn was talking earlier, is about sharing. You're sharing your space, and the legacy is that we share and wear how we care. So when you're wearing something, whatever it is, I mean, my focus is creating a pajama. Again, bringing children into this. So I'm weaving a lot of what I'm hearing into our project of the Pachamama pajamas, so that we're sharing and we're wearing how we're caring. So again, I'm inviting everyone to, thank you, Julie. I'm also trying to catch up with all of the videos, the calls that I've missed. And I'm waiting any moment for my daughter to go into labor. So so there you have it. I'm here with you. I'm working in my community, and I'm loving you all. And I don't want to take up too much time, but something personal did happen where good of the whole saved the day for me. And I don't know if I have time. It would be like 1 minute to share. I was with my physical therapist. She's working on my knee. And I've known her for many, many years and just refound her in the last 2 months. And I love her. And she's like, you know, the healer who first introduced me to energy work. She's such a great therapist. We got in a conversation the other day, and I realized that her political views are totally opposite of mine. And it was a feeling of all of a sudden this, you know, this wall had come down, and it really hurt me. And I had to move myself out of how I feel and understand that when we live for the good of the whole, we cannot have judgments. We have to include everybody. And that was where the love opened up, because there are so many people out there who don't think or believe or feel or in resonant with the way I am, but I have to love that anyway. And I'm working on that, and it feels right to do that, because then we're bringing what is for the good of the whole, that everyone is valued, connected, and whole. Everyone, meaning everyone. So I just wanted to share that, because there's a lot of people who are not in this field with us, but if we can just one person at a time invite them into our hearts and not put up that shield, I think this is a tangible way that good of the whole stays alive. So I'm complete. I don't know how to mute myself or whatever I'm doing here. See what I can do. Oh, can I?
Thank you, Linda. That story was perfect. And in fact, Julie and I were having a discussion this morning very similar to that, you know. So how perfect is that? Anybody else?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. This is Stacy. You can hear me okay, right, Shelley and Julie?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Beautiful. So as I'm tuning in, a couple of things are arising. You talk about that creative impulse. And the first thing that started arising for me was a word that came, which hasn't always come to me, which is called communing. And really communing with each other and communing with nature. And really I was with my mother yesterday, you guys, and it's so beautiful. I wrote her, I think, a 6 or 7 page letter on all the things she did for me. And it was so healing. And another little love letter. And I brought oils to her, and I had a chant that I did silently, because it is close to her last days. I don't know how long, but I went, and the letter was so healing to all the things mothers do for us. Like, I was like, oh my God, everybody, this would be a great assignment, all the things our mother, and I need to write one for my daddy. All the beautiful things, the sacrifice of the mother, the love of the mother. So beautiful. And so I went to her, and I read it to her. She could hardly speak at the time, by the way. And I didn't really read the whole thing because I realized all she wanted to hear was my love. So I shortened the whole letter and I just gave her snippets and I said, "Thank you, Mommy. I love you." And I kept saying, you know, a little line and, you know, for what she did. And I said, "Thank you, Mommy. I love you." And it was really beautiful. It was really touching. And then she said, muttered some words that she could hardly speak because she can't speak much now. "I love you." I said, "I love you too." And I brought her some roses, and she looked around in wonder, like, you know, kind of like when a child is born. It's the same frequency of just resting in this place of like no energy. It's like so beautiful. You know, I never really had this depth of experience with somebody who's going to pass the deep residence of that divine energy that's so surrendered to the best that she could. And then while I was with her, she currently has a breathing tube, and she pulls it off of her. And I put frankincense, actually, I brought frankincense, Spirit told me to, and I put a little bit on her third eye, and I had her smell it. She pulled away her tube, and I knew the doctors say she needed to have it. And so I put the tube back gently on her, you know, and I realized and then she took my hand, and I took her hand for a while. And then in leaving, I realized in retrospect, I wasn't really 100% communing with her because I didn't listen to her body. Like Henry was saying, I wasn't listening to her. I was listening to what somebody told me in my head that she needed to have it on at that moment. And if I was really communing with her, I would have tuned into her body, and at that moment, she didn't need that tube right there. And I could just be with her without that. Like maybe she pulled away because I could see her breath started, you know, a little bit more full after we breathed in. There was a deeper breathing in her system. And so it really struck me like, wow, how many times do I not fully, you know, commune or listen to the, you know, the kind of impulse of the person's soul. And that's my work. My work is soul work. And like what is available to me, the work, I guess, is about embodiment. Like how can I, and my whole work has also been about teaching it and learning it and living it. Like how do I do that? Like that inquiry of deep communing and really not listening to my head of an authority, but what's in that present moment with that particular soul that's unique and distinct, and honoring who were there at that moment and really listening and really getting them. So that's what's, you know, there for me. And it's also there with me and me planting my garden in nature like that, listening. So thank you, and deep love to all of you, and thank you.
I just want to acknowledge the love of both Stacy and Linda, and just what moves in me is that as we love those, even those we don't agree with or don't understand, that love is watering the seeds of expanded awareness, of expanded consciousness, and that is the water. So here we are, watering seeds in this beautiful garden. You mentioned the garden, and I had to just jump in there. Thank you, Stacy, and thank you, Linda, and I'm complete.
I'm just going to jump in here. We have a couple more minutes, so I just want to see if anyone's feeling a burning desire to. Oh, there you go. to stand in the light, step into the light. And if you don't have a chance to share today, we'll make sure that you do next week. So you don't have to feel like you have to get in here today. This is an ongoing, committed space of, as Julie was sharing, love and watering the seedlings and listening. So, oh.
Shelley,
Oh.
to bring this poem, which is what Linda and Stacy shared, and my heart is beating fast, and it's kind of related to in every atom, there's a reflection of the whole for today. That is from Rumi and is a dissolving light. I died as mineral and became a plant. I died as plant and rose to animal. I died as animal and I became human. This part is mine. I died as a human to become love itself. Why should I fear anything? When was I ever less by dying? When was I ever less by dying?
Thank you, Nahid. That's gorgeous. I died as a human to become love itself. So with that, know that this is continuing. If you feel like you want to be in the first month of sharing your 20 minutes, please make sure you send in an email to Shelley at Good of the Whole with your intention and just a couple of lines about what's moving in you in service to the good of the whole. And also, you know, as you're listening, you see that you can feel the field is organizing, self-organizing. You can feel those people that you personally feel connected to. And what I see is, even, you know, in listening to a few people today, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see calling it, you know, creating a call for, you know, those people that don't know exactly what it will be, but really want to work in the realm of working with children, you know, and letting people come on and commune. And that's how this is all going to unfold, with the help of the advisory council. And as we're growing, you know, the wisdom council, or, you know, maybe you want to lead a volunteer council of some sort, you know, so there's lots of opportunities here to allow that to keep popping, seems to be the word today. Yeah, so thank you so much, and, you know, stick with us. And if you have any questions, feel free to call or email anything that's moving in you to support the fostering of this. And, you know, as like Henry was describing, if you're really feeling, wow, my thing is resonance, you know, well then the Resonance Council exists. So, you know, get a hold of myself or Henry and say, wow, I want to be part of this. So that's how this field organizes itself. So thank you for showing up and really supporting and serving the good of the whole. And we look forward to continuing this. Julie, you look like you might want to say something.
Yeah, Linda wants to say something, and
Oh.
I do want to say something too. So I'll speak right after Linda.
Can you hear me? Do I have this right? Next Wednesday is our open Good of the Whole for the community.
Right. Oh, right.
I would like to suggest that maybe each one of us invite one person to come on that call. We'll double the vibes here. So I just wanted to bring that up for that first Wednesday call.
Thank
you. So
you.
that's not just for us, it's for, you know, one other person. That's it. I'm done.
Great idea.
No, really, thank you, because Henry, you know, caught me on the Monday call saying, oh, the public call was this Wednesday. So thank you so much. And so actually, that's true. So we won't really be starting this next phase with the 20 minutes until the week after. Although we might have, if somebody's really ready, we might have them come in as an example for whoever, all those people that we invited. So Julie, want to quickly?
So thank you for Linda. I was just going to say two things because I won't be here next week, and I was going to say it's the public call. So thank you for that. And secondly, an invitation for two different things. An invitation that we are going to begin the fundraising for an administrative director to hold us all together and to begin weaving. And we're looking at doing that as a crowdfunding. We're looking at some live events, and then we're looking at a traditional fundraiser that is here that can literally go and knock on some doors. So in the crowdfunding, if anyone wants to help with any of those, you're welcome to help facilitate craft and really get involved with the fundraising leg. But more importantly, if you would offer your voices, we need to create some kind of a video for that crowdsourcing. And I think weaving in all of our voices would be really a beautiful way to showcase how we are living for the good of the whole and how we're here to support and uplift others who are living for the good of the whole. So if you want to, like look at you right now, like everyone can record some snippets and we can talk about how that looks. So if you're interested in that, give Shelley an email as well. Shelley, good of the whole, but we'll be working on that real soon. So thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah, thanks, Julie, for that. I was going to say something about that. And yeah, we can even start to schedule some time to, if you don't know how to make your own video, we can schedule time on Zoom. So let's just say we're starting that this next week. So if you feel like you're willing to come forward for a 3 to 5 minute expression, we would love that. And you can be outdoors. We can do all kinds of things. So yeah. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Amazing, amazing sharing. We love you all. And there's Henry with his nose, the clown. And have a joyous, fun week. We'll see you back on the resonance call on Monday and our public call on Wednesday. And thank you, Linda. Yes, please invite at least one person. That would be so amazing. Bye for now.
Bye.
Aloha.
Aloha. Thank you, Glenn, for waking up early. Woohoo.
Yeah.